think our boys were lucky to beat the lowly Flyers.
Yeah, they're giving up a lot of goals, aren't we? We're a little loose in our own end, as they used to say, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
5-4? What's the current confidence level in Talbot?
He's having a couple of shaky games.
Yeah, he certainly isn't the guy he was early this year, or the guy we saw last year. But maybe it's the style they're playing too. They haven't hunkered her down, which is fine with me. I like the fact that you can give up 4 goals on the road and still win.
Did you enjoy your time in Cooperstown with Tony?
Oh yeah, it was great. It was hell getting there and getting back, but it was great being there with him. He's still a funny guy. It's amazing. We hardly could walk by anything where he didn't have a quip about the person or something, and it was something. And it was fun. But everybody was worried about Tony's back, if it could hold up, because he's having back problems. If it hold up for an hour and a half, I was a hell of a lot more worried about me than I was Tony. Because they put Tony in the elevator when they went from one level to the other, and I had to haul my fat rear end up the steps. Man, by the time I got up the steps, I was ready for a nap.
Reusse, tell the story. I don't know where I read it, Twitter or the paper or something, about the 105-mile-an-hour fastball that went right through him. Give us the details of that.
Well, Nolan Ryan was pitching. We ran into a Nolan. CB put every exhibit he had. No, this was downstairs in the storage room. They handed him a Rod Carew bat, right?
Right.
Because they got all
they're just laying around out there, huh?
They got these pages of displays, but down in the storage room they have 20 times more artifacts that they break out on occasion. Otherwise, they just keep them down there. They change the displays at times, but they were showing Tony various bats. They showed him Babe Ruth's bat, and he held it and said, "This has to be 45 ounces." And the guy said, "That's exactly what it is, 45 ounces."
Oh, that's cool.
And then they gave him one of Rodney's bats, and he was smiling and looking at it. And then he went into Rodney's batting stats and explained that Rodney kind of did this bent over thing, but against Nolan and some of these guys, when he wanted to be a little quicker in case he was going to get hit in the head, he'd stand more straight up. And Nolan was one of those days. Nolan's throwing 100 and something. He said 105, and Nolan throws a fastball, and Rodney doesn't budge an inch, and it went behind him.
Ooh.
Everybody else would have been like diving onto their face and doing, getting the hell out of Dodge. And Tony's in the on-deck circle, and he screams, "What was that? What's going on, Ruby?" And Rodney looked at him and said, "I think the ball went through me, Tony."
Well, Patrick, you remember, it was not unusual if Nolan was pitching for Rodney to suddenly come down with a bad flu.
Yeah. He missed him a couple of times.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of them that had it in the league.
Oh, I know.
The guy he hated more was Rudy May.
Yeah.
Rudy May was a left-hander who threw hard and had a big curveball.
I think he threw it through me.
He threw it through me.
Oh.
Yeah, he had some amazing quips, that's for sure.
Hey, Reusse, Super 70 Sports just tweeted the most career home runs off Nolan Ryan was some dude. I don't know who he is. Will Clark.
Yeah, San Francisco.
With 6 of them.
Yeah, he was a great player for San Francisco.
Yeah.
But only 6. Wow.
Yeah, well, the thing about Nolan Ryan that we all remember around here is he's starting the All-Star game here in 1985. He's been how long has he been in Houston, Reavers? 5-6 years by then?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, he's starting for Houston. Ricky Henderson comes up to the plate and he knocks him on his ass because he's still mad at him the way he reacted when he hit a home run off him 6 years ago. He basically buzzed him for what he'd done 6 years ago, and then he bent over Winfield too and when he didn't hit the ground, but he bent over because he buzzed him inside too. He was still.
So basically,
mad.
you get a hit off Nolan Ryan. You apologize to him as you run
Right.
to first base.
Home runs. Those were both home runs that they didn't treat. That they must have admired for a while.
Yeah. Well, you could have, man, Ricky might have moonwalked around. You know, Ricky.
Yeah. You know what you wanted to do when you hit one off Nolan, no matter how far it went, was start running out of the box and get briskly around the bases and don't look at him in any way.
Keep your head down.
Hustle.
Very sorry, Mr. Ryan.
I'm sorry,
Very
Mr.
sorry.
Ryan, I'm sorry.
I think Bob Gibson probably had the same attitude.
I think he did too. Yeah.
Yeah. What was my favorite story is Early Wynn. Early Wynn was one of the great drunks I ever met in my life. When he was drunk in the Twins room and telling stories, it was hilarious. And but his famous story is he's pitching for the White Sox, and Gil McDougall. This is so long ago. Gil McDougall was a fairly young player. Maybe Early was pitching for Cleveland. I'm not sure, but he gets up there, Kenny, and he's pawing with the left foot like he's taking a the hole.
Sure,
And
yeah.
when he turns around, Early standing next to him, like 3 feet away from him, came down from the mound and said, "Son, you better dig that hole deep enough to bury yourself."
Pat, who was the pitcher? The pitcher that yelled in at the batter, "You better get in that box right now. I'm double parked." Who was that? Sound like something maybe Nolan would have done.
I can't remember. Yeah, somebody might have said that, but that was a famous. Early would knock you on your. Isn't it amazing? They're playing with no helmets.
Right.
It's like baseball. It's like hockey. You know, these guys have no helmets. Well, one thing Tony said is, and this is true. He said that first 2 months he was in the league as a full-time player, he was hitting like 400 for the first 3 weeks and line drives all over the place. He said, I spent more time on my knees in the batter's box than I did on my feet because they were throwing at me so often.
Yeah.
Tony was. Go ahead, Pat.
And Tony, there was one I remember as a kid. It was like his fourth or fifth game. I wasn't that much of a kid, I guess. But, I guess I was old enough to be hard drinking by then. But anyway, Tony, it's his fourth or fifth game of his rookie year, 64. And he gets he comes up and Phil Reagan's pitching for Detroit and threw one right at his head. He tried to kill him. And basically Tony goes flat down, gets up, hits the ball over the center fielder's head in Detroit in Tiger Stadium, which is 440 feet. So that was he was not intimidated, but they were trying it.
Rod Carew shares a fantastic story about facing Bob Gibson. Quote, when I was 20, I faced Gibby at an exhibition match in Florida. I tried to fill in a hole in the batter's box, and he told me, quote, get in the box, kid, I'm double parked.
Yeah.
He knocked me down 4 times and then walked me. As I walked to first, he said, and don't even think about trying to steal.
Yeah.
I didn't.